Hello my friends, Stark here. Stark date 2023.10.16. Greetings from sunny Phnom Penh, Cambodia. The following video concerns my 1992 Ford Ranger. I hope you enjoy the video. I made one mistake. In the video, I state that I replaced the timing belt, but upon further reflection, I realized that I confused the job with a different Ford Ranger, a black 1990 model, which may feature in a future video. This is a 1992 Ford Ranger with a flatbed conversion. 2.3 litre 4-cylinder engine, 5-speed manual transmission. I bought this truck in September of 2008 and have now owned it for 15 years. In that time frame, I have driven the truck 6,265 miles. The current odometer reading is 78,205 actual miles. I always kept plastic and towels on the seats, so even if I was dirty, the seats are in excellent condition. But these Ranger seats were actually surprisingly really hard wearing, and even if one does dirty them, they can be cleaned up without damaging the fabric. Well, let's start the engine. Gear stick in neutral. Depress the clutch pedal. Ford 2.3 litre 4-cylinder 8 spark plug engine. It runs super smooth, but then you would expect that from an engine with only 78,205 miles. These Ford 2.3 litre overhead cam engines are actually tough as old boots. I have another Ford Ranger, a third generation 1996 model with 425,000 miles on the same engine. It's overhead cam, belt drive, a timing belt from the crankshaft to the camshaft, but these are not interference engines. If the belt breaks, then the pistons will not crash the valves. I'm a big fan of these Ford 2.3 litre engines. They're not a powerhouse of an engine, but in terms of durability, they have it in spades. These are a really tough engine. I've often said that if one is buying an S10, then get the V6, but if one is buying a Ranger, get the 4-cylinder. In the last few weeks, I have changed the engine oil and filter, synthetic of course, the transmission fluid, the rear axle oil, the timing belt, battery and tires are all new, as are the rear shock absorbers, the rear brake drums, rear brake shoes, rear brake spring kits, and rear brake adjuster kits. I've also fitted a new fuel pump. I've repainted the steelwork of the bed, and I have coated the wood with a protective sealant. All 5 wheels were sandblasted, etch primed, and finally painted in silver prior to the fitment of 4 new Cooper Cobra radial GT tires. The white lettering is still protected by the blue coating that will wash off. The spare tire is used. It is a Firestone. I have a nice heavy-duty diamond plate of aluminum to cover the cutout in the bed for access to the fuel pump. So for this particular truck, any problems with the fuel pump are super easy for you to rectify. You will never have to drop the fuel tank. Brand new fuel pump, just installed, 0 miles upon it. In fact, 0 miles upon everything that I mentioned in my modifications and maintenance list. I fitted new rear shock absorbers. The old ones were getting very tired, and I wanted to sharpen up the rear suspension for a less wallowy ride. I chose these heavy-duty rear shock absorbers, gas-filled and with built-in springs. I thought that these would just sharpen up the rear suspension a little, but oh boy, they've made a huge difference. I can tell that just driving the vehicle around my property. I'm not saying that it handles like a sports car, but the ride is like a sports car. You feel every bump. The rear suspension is now super stiff, which I'm sure will improve the truck's load carrying capacity. I should add that the workshop from whom I purchased this truck back in September of 2008 installed a brand new clutch for me at that time. And so, although the clutch is 15 years old, it only has 6,265 miles on it. Well, let's start the truck again and take it for our customary drive from this empty lot across the street and park it in one of the workshops. Interestingly, although the truck has a 5-speed manual transmission, it does not have a tachometer. Let's roll. Yeah, it's a hard ride. I'm sure it would improve if a little weight was added to the rear suspension. I'm currently in second gear. first gear. In anticipation that someone would ask for the dimensions of the bed, I've measured. The usable bed is 5 feet 11 inches by 5 feet 11 inches, so it's a square. That excludes the headache rack and excludes the stake pockets. If we include the stake pockets, then the bed has an overall width of 6 feet 3 inches. I have the wooden stake sides for the bed in storage. I don't typically have them installed upon the bed because I think it makes the truck look goofy. But available and included with the truck. Thank you so much for watching, my friends. Take care. See you next time.